Hey, good evening. I'd like to call the Public Service Committee meeting to order. We have two agenda items tonight, and it's quite unusual. Both of them are very, very similar. Robin, do you want to come up and sit in the hot seat or cold seat? Or?
Good evening. It's Kristen LeDuc. I'm here on behalf of our board who was here previously.
Yeah, that'd be a good place because you have a microphone there. Well, we want to talk into the microphone too. If you talk, that's good.
Open, just so I can follow along. Thank you.
Okay, so we do have the two agenda items, and as I mentioned, they're very similar. The first one is order number 241009-210, application for a special permit from Robin Latour on behalf of Dish Wireless to install 3 antennas related to equipment on the rooftop at 450 Boston Post Road. Maybe, Robin, you can give us an overview. It's obvious, I guess this is a replacement for one that was there. Now, what happens to the old dishes? Like me, they get old and they don't work, or what?
So Dish Wireless is a new cell phone provider. So
oh, I see.
So what they're doing now in building out their network, they're using cell sites that had previously had like the Sprint service that was up on this building, and they have now, since Sprint is no longer in use, what Dish is going to do is going to reuse some of the infrastructure that Sprint has left behind in order to, kind of cut back on costs and, all of the wear and tear on the buildings as well. So what they'll simply do is Sprint has taken down their equipment that transmits and receives, and Dish Wireless will put up their antennas. They look similar, they're pretty much the same, they just operate on a different frequency. So the commonality of it is that we'll just reuse what is existing there, and just kind of latch them on to the infrastructure.
Must have taken a while to work out that deal. You got two companies that are...
Yeah, so...
Is Sprint, have they been out of business right along?
Yes.
So those have been inactive?
Correct.
Wow.
And Sprint has been decommissioning all of their cell sites throughout the nation. So what they do is Dish and Sprint and some of the others, so if there's a couple carriers that are there and they don't need to be, like the Sprint has become, T-Mobile has absorbed them, so there's actually 2 cell sites there for one company, so they don't need it, so it's repetitive. So Dish has struck a deal nationally with the other companies that no longer need those cell sites, and will, what they've come in and said is they'll, take that cost, because it costs an awful lot to decommission it, because they have to put it back to how the building was like before it was leased and permitted, minus wear and tear. But, for some of those sites, the infrastructure that's built is kind of great. So Dish is just, proposing to reuse the stuff that's, mounted onto the building itself.
Very good.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting.
Yeah, yep, so that, and they all have to play nice. I mean, as you know, the guidelines for telecommunications, we co-locate everywhere, and Dish is no different. They're just on a different frequency band that they're operating on.
How about members of the committee? You people have any questions or you want more knowledge? I mean, I'm here to learn more because it's quite different from when we had the cell towers in the early days of the dishes. I find it very interesting. Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. LeDuc, for being here. I do not have any questions at the moment really about the project. I do notice that there have been some comments from some of the various department heads. I know the fire chief, he seems to be all set. Conservation officer Priscilla Ryder seems to be all set. I know that the city engineer, Tom DePercio, did have 2 small changes, just to the special permit that I will move tonight to amend. I also have 2 of my own. So I guess I will start, if the chair is okay with it, with the first first recommendation from the city engineer, which would be to replace in the first paragraph of the special permit, instead of having it being an existing or monopole tower, it should be an existing rooftop.
I think that was more or less just a mistake, a typing error or something, but that's good.
Understood, yes.
Sure.
Correct.
So I would ask that we amend that. I would also, then going just to the next page, over to findings of fact, number 9, the dates of the public hearing, which we held, just seemed to be off by one, so amending it to July 22nd, 2024. Sticking with, I believe it's, here in the actions, it should be letter K. I believe, again, we refer to it as an existing monopole, or it should be rooftop. And then my last, which I believe this is the last one from the city engineer himself, which would be to get rid of condition 6, being that it is a private site, so we really don't, no need for us to include that condition for you guys. So I think I would ask, I move that we amend those 4 little things here in the special permit.
I would second that,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, so that, you're giving motion, so
A motion to amend
John?
with those 4 amendments.
Counselor has seconded
Second
that.
that.
Okay, all in favor of amending those? Okay, very good, so they are amended. Now, John, you must have a question. I want to
just
know how good a reception are you getting down in your neck of the woods?
Well, it could always be improvement, but I like the idea that you're using the existing equipment on the rooftop, so that makes it a lot easier to go through that. I have no issues with this, but I second the engineer DePercio's comments as well, and that's why I second that. But other than that, Mr. Chair, I'm all set.
Okay, very good. And, Mr. President, you must have some comments or updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just a couple on the decision. Council Facillo found better part of it, but on the grant of the special permit, the dates need to be changed because the decision date won't be July 24th. You can just leave that blank. So that's on the first page.
Yes.
And then the sentence right underneath it, Christine, that those, just leave it, but actually you should mirror what you did in the 157 Union Street one. Then item 5, findings of fact. The latest revision of the drawing says January 19th. The ones that we have, Christina, Rev 3, May 26, 2023. So I don't, is that going to be the latest version that you're going to, you can check. I mean, that.
I will.
Just so that you, let us know.
Okay.
Item 7, rural residential, again, that was tied to the monopole. This is a dual, it's in business and an A1 zoning. I mean, the solicitor should pick these up, but
Yeah.
just, and then on the last page after my signature, the order number 22, that's going to have to get changed to 24-100-9210. And I can show you these after if you want.
Okay, perfect.
But that's it. I mean, solicitor, I'm sure, is going to pick up on them, Mr. Chairman, but just bring them to our attention.
Right. Okay, so as a committee, do we need to vote on those comments or changes? Or are they amendments that you gave us, Mr. President, or
What's that?
just corrections, or are those amendments?
This, and Karen, correct me, but the solicitor will just fix those as
Yeah,
part of the process. I mean, you tell me, if you want them written down, I can go write them all up.
As
but-
long as the final copy is what we want,
Okay.
yeah. No. Well, you know, we put some of those in there just, I know that you people read these, you know. Okay, any other comments? That's an interesting site down there, you know. I remember when that was built, and I remember when we had a lot of students down there. And so basically, is that like a revenue generator for the people that own that building, right?
Yeah, they do collect rents.
Yeah,
So, you know, they can't lease out the rooftop space for a desk and, you know, some chairs, so I think it's, you know, best used for, you know, something up on top, which is unmanned, so you know, they collect a little bit of rent.
Yeah, I think, we go back to when we were talking about cell towers on the top of Miles Standish, and the place would be packed,
Yep, Yep.
And, but, you don't even, I don't even think.
you don't even notice them
When
anymore.
I see a dish on top of the roof, you can see part of it or something.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense. Are cell towers going away now?
No,
Are they
no,
big as ever? I mean, I get down 495, and some of those towns,
yeah,
gigantic, and
right.
I don't know, they have more arms than some of ours.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting how technology,
Yeah, well, with the emergency need for it, so for the 911 operators, it's never gonna go away. So
Oh,
it's
that's
gotta
right.
be, all connected, and,
Yeah.
when that falls through, then it's a big deal. So that's what they're, most of them are working on now, is to enhance that coverage. So whether it means building a tower in a remote area, it's where they're going, and utilizing what's already out there for the infrastructure, so we all kind of stay in the same lane, so you know where they all are,
very interesting.
yeah.
Okay, what's the desire of the commission, of the committee? Do I hear a motion? Okay,
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve as amended, and just with those, making sure that final copy is up to date as possible.
okay, I'll second that. All in favor? Okay, I think I mentioned her before, we'll ask for a suspension, so if I can have a motion to suspend this. The next meeting is a week from Monday, which must be the 9th? No.
Yep.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, okay. But can we move that fast, huh?
We'll see if you can do it. You might have to do it at the meeting.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so we will move forward on moving this forward quickly, and I thank you very much for that. Okay, now we can almost do the next one. Just kind of play the tape and we'd be all set. But the second one is order number 241009-210, application for a special permit from Robin on behalf of Dish Wireless to install 3 wireless antennas related to equipment on the rooftop. Oh, let me get the right one. Rooftop, yeah, okay, on 157 Union Street, which happens to be the Marlborough Hospital. And I'm a frequent flyer there, so I want to make sure we get those dishes up there. Okay, anything different on this, Robin?
Nope, so for this site, all the Sprint equipment has been taken off of this site, with the exception of on the roof itself, there is a large platform, like a metal platform. It's like 20 by 20, it's large.
Oh, is that right?
And, yeah, and they've okayed us for Dish Wireless to use a portion of that, so we won't have to drop any additional equipment for the base equipment itself. So that, they'll just place it on it simply, and then they're going to remount the antennas on the facade of the building with new mounts, because those were taken off at this site. But they are at the same location where the Sprint antennas were on the facade of the building. So it's a little bit different from the other one, but yeah, all their stuff was taken up, like conduits and all of that is still all there. So they're just gonna follow what's been left behind.
Now, we're going to move on this, move this right along. What's their timetable? Are they must be anxious to get
Oh, yeah,
up
they're,
and running.
yeah, oh, yeah, they've been, this is scheduled to be built as soon as we get our building permit. They've ordered the materials, so they're hoping by, the fall to get out there and just, it's almost like they just have to plug them in. They hang them and then they're gonna plug them in, so, because the infrastructure is there for these, so, they're looking to have, they're launching their sites by October. So we're kind of just getting everything ready for them to move forward. So it's within this year.
Now, is Sprint out of business, or are they just going in a different direction?
Yeah.
When did they go out?
Couple years ago, so T-Mobile.
They get bought out or anything?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yep. So
Yeah.
they all kind of
Yeah.
merge. And then Dish is new to the wireless, you know, for competition's sake, so, which is good to have as well.
Okay, let me get back to my committee. You guys, any questions, comments, expansions? Counselor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just say, again, looking at some of the department head comments, fire chief seems to be good, our conservation officer is good. The city engineer did mention that condition number 6, again, is not necessary, so I won't make a formal amendment,
no,
but I would just, again, keep an eye on that. I also noticed, I think it is item K, again, we referenced the monopole, but correct me if I'm wrong, again, this would be another rooftop.
Correct.
So just changing that. Aside from that, I didn't pick up on anything else, but that would be my 2. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Counselor Irish? Any?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I support with the condition number 6 from Engineer DePercio. I like how you're using, will you be using the entire platform? That's
So we're only using a portion of it, but because it is so large. Dish only requires a 35-foot square feet.
So there'd be some space
There's
in the
plenty of-
future to expand if needed.
Exactly. If someone else came along and the hospital wanted the revenue, which they were excited about after losing it. So it's all set up and it's really kind of large and substantial, so.
I'm hoping this enhances the area too for cell reception as well.
Yeah,
in that area.
exactly.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. President, any comments or
No,
expansion?
I'm all set. The
Okay,
2
very
items
good.
that Council Patillo identified are perfect, so just recommend you approve as amended.
Okay, it being the case, I think we can move forward if you want to make a recommendation or motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Can you work tonight?
I guess so, earning my pay.
With that suit
Yeah,
on,
right,
you gotta-
right. No, I would move to approve with those amendments.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor? Beautiful. And as I mentioned before, we will ask for a suspension at a next meeting. Okay, what's your pleasure? Should we wrap it up? Councilor
Motion
Irish?
to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn. I'll second that. All in favor, and the meeting is over. What's that?
47.
6:27.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't too far off, Robert.
Nope.
Yeah.